Safety in schools and beyond. We're breaking down new safety measures that could be coming to your children's schools and technology being used to help stop gun violence.
It's been the warmest day in nearly a month, but this break from the chill won't last for long. I'm timing out the arrival of our next cold front and the rain that comes with it.
Measles continue to spread, but that isn't the only virus targeted by that particular vaccine. Why mumps and rubella aren't seeing a surge, and we're taking your questions about the outbreak.
Now, this is the kind of weather I'm talking about. How'd you like it today?
It was beautiful
It was great.
outside.
So, a very warm day across our area, but that does mean that we have some rain on the way.
Yes, remember, this is the show that wants you to get involved. Tell us about what you did today outside, or whatever you want to tell us about. Email 7 p.m. at WRAL.com with your comments, questions, and feedback. We actually may even respond to a few at the end of the newscast. Tonight, we do have to start with these temperatures, these warm temperatures and the rain that's on the way. Kat, the greatest chance tomorrow morning?
Yes, and it's coming with this dreaded cold front that I'm sure everybody is not happy to see on the map. Here it comes. It's not going to be a lot of rain to help with the drought or anything like that, but it may affect your morning a bit. Some pretty light rain possible for the commute. In the meantime, it was 70 degrees today. It's the warmest weather that we've seen in about a month. It's been beautiful, and temperatures are still mild out there to enjoy it for a couple more hours. Tomorrow actually won't be that chilly just yet. It just comes with some rain. Tomorrow morning, our low is going to be very mild to start compared to what we've seen lately, but the rain fills in around 8 a.m., especially from the Triangle Point south and east. Just some light rain around, maybe a better chance toward 10 a.m., but by lunchtime, the rain chances back off and should be limited more to the southeastern part of our viewing area. The rain clears out of here, the sun comes back out, and highs climb into the mid-60s for just one more day. Now, this won't be a lot of rain, but we do have a pretty good rainmaker on the way, and I'll have a closer look at when that gets here coming up.
All right, thank you, Kat. We want to get to a story happening right now here at 7 o'clock, a potential measles exposure in Wake County. Got Brian Schrader in the live center following this for us. Brian.
Dan, we got these details just in the past 15 minutes or so. This is from the Wake County Health Department, and they say that this all happened last Thursday. If you were at any of these locations, the O2 Fitness on Alexander Promenade Place in the afternoon into the early evening, the Ever Bowl on Alexander Promenade Place between 3 and about 6 p.m., also the Harris Teeter on Strickland Road between 5 and 7 o'clock or so, and the Harris Teeter on Creedmoor Road between 5 and about 7:30, you may have been exposed to measles. So here's what you need to keep in mind. If you are unvaccinated or you're not sure about your vaccination status, monitor for those symptoms. They can develop between 7 and 21 days after the exposure, and you can contact the Wake County Health Department for further guidance. And of course, the best option here to prevent any of this is to get that measles vaccine if you're at least 1 year old. The risk here is that, of course, measles can lead to serious, even deadly complications. So this is a story we're going to be tracking all night.
Yeah, and we're going to have more coming up in just a little bit about the measles and these 18 cases that we have in North Carolina, taking your questions as well. But first, we have two stories for you with a focus on safety of our community, school security at the local level, and crime-fighting technology at the state level.
So this is some stuff that has the power to protect millions of children, to solve tens of thousands of crimes. And we want to start with our kids, with our schools. Wake County schools, they just moved around millions of dollars to upgrade security.
No official votes just yet, but the school board says they have a plan. WRAL's Carly Haynes has a look at the details.
The school district has a priority to boost spending for school security. So to do that, they moved money away from land purchasing and into that security budget. Now we're getting a better understanding of what that spending will be used for. A change in the Wake County School District's emergency response. The school system is doing away with color codes, moving instead to a standard response protocol.
Plain language tells you a specific action word that you're going to be easily to understand the action that goes behind it.
Instead of code yellow, Wake schools will use secure. Instead of code red, it will be a lockdown. And a new action, hold.
It keeps the inside of the building clear so that if law enforcement or admin need to be looking for something or someone, they can do that without students being out inside in the hallways.
Training will begin next month. This budget year, the school system has an additional $10 million to spend on school security infrastructure after the board shifted money from land purchases to its security budget. Changes on the table for consideration include weapon detectors, more security staff, and more cameras. It's unclear at this point how the money will be used. The school district has already instituted several safety features that includes the anonymous reporting app, See Something, Say Something, the Rave mobile panic button, and clear bags for athletic events. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, Wake County.
All right, thank you to Carly. Now let's move to the safety improvements at the state level. Some new technology in North Carolina's crime lab that has led investigators to 10,000 leads in gun-related crimes. WRAL's Flynn Snyder explains the technology linking shell casings to suspects.
It's being described as a reminder as much as it is a milestone.
I think you can tell by hitting this milestone that gun violence is still an epidemic.
An epidemic and 10,000 leads in gun-related offenses at the NC Crime Lab. It's thanks to a database called NIBIN, or the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network. Top law enforcement officials marked the new number in a press conference.
This NIBIN milestone is a big deal for public safety in North Carolina.
So how does this database actually work? Investigators here at the NC Crime Lab can analyze ballistic evidence like this for unique markings. Those markings are then logged into the database, which can then help link crime scenes and identify potential shooters. State Attorney General Jeff Jackson showed the machines used to get those markings.
It means that we are way out in front when it comes to connecting the dots between different crimes in different locations.
Kinson's police chief says NIBIN has led to convictions.
Several years ago, we had several incidents where we had shootings in different parts of our community, and we were able to utilize the resource here to link those cases together and have an effective arrest.
For Jackson, the milestone is met with mixed reaction.
On the one hand, it's a good thing that we're getting all of these leads. On the other hand, it does mean that we continue to have a lot of shootings.
Technology used for more than 3 decades in the state now reaching a milestone in curbing gun violence. Flynn Snyder, WRAL News, Raleigh.
Flynn, thank you. 500 agencies use this database now. The North Carolina Crime Lab was the 8th state in the country to adopt the technology. We want to know if you have any questions about any of these stories and anything you see in this newscast. You can email 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. What else do you want to know about how these communities, your community, fights crime? We'll look into it and talk about it right here at 7 o'clock. All right, time to get you caught up on some of the other big headlines from today. These are the 5 things you should know right now. President Trump is scheduled to visit Fort Bragg this week. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt made the announcement at a briefing this afternoon. The president and First Lady will meet with military families and members of the special forces who carried out the operation in Venezuela to capture Nicolas Maduro. 2 teenage siblings were found dead in a home in Henderson. The Vance County Sheriff says they were 13 and 17 years old, brother and sister. They lived at the home on Torrey Drive with their father. The sheriff's office has not said how the teenagers died.
Gardner police are hoping someone's dash cam video will help them solve a deadly shooting. Officers found Joseph Adams shot in his car on Timber Drive last night. Police say Adams was the only one in the car. They're still trying to find out what led up to the shooting and who pulled the trigger. The Raleigh man accused of breaking into a teacher's home and killing her was formally indicted today. Ryan Camacho is charged with murder and breaking and entering. Police say he broke into Zoe Welsh's home about a month ago and killed her. Welsh was a longtime teacher at Ravenscroft School in Raleigh. Camacho has a lengthy criminal record and documented mental health concerns. A legal case is underway to figure out if lawmakers overstepped when taking power from the governor and giving it to the state auditor. Democratic Governor Josh Stein and the Republican lawmakers facing off in this one. The governor was in charge of elections for a century until last year. Today, the legislature defended that change, saying they can take power from any political office in the state. More to talk about here at 7 o'clock, like more measles cases popping up in North Carolina.
It's just a matter of time, not if, but when we will get cases.
But MMR isn't just measles. What about mumps and rubella? Why aren't those viruses in the news too? Let's answer some of your follow-up questions when WRAL News at 7 continues. More measles cases confirmed in North Carolina. The most recent patient spent time in Wake County. You heard Brian earlier in the show talk about that. People at a handful of places in Raleigh may have been exposed. Here's the map on the state health department's website. The state reports 18 cases confirmed since December. most of them in the southwest part of the state. 18 cases is significant, especially since North Carolina only had 1 case in 2024, 0 cases going back to 2018. But with fewer people getting the vaccine, health officials expect these case numbers to rise. Here's how an infectious disease researcher at UNC Health put it.
We all said it's just a matter of time, not if, but when we will get cases. So we will see more cases here. And again, this is all basically due to under-vaccination against the measles virus.
That was a quick clip from my interview last week with Dr. WRAL. After it aired, a lot of you sent in follow-up questions to 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. Tonight, I want to answer a few of them. Let's start with this one from a viewer named Christy. She asked, can an unvaccinated adult get the MMR vaccine safely? Most people who get the MMR vaccine get it when they're little kids, 1 dose at about a year old, another between 4 and 6 years old. But suppose you never got vaccinated and now you're an adult. The CDC has this to say, quote, older children and adults also need 1 or 2 doses of MMR vaccine if they don't have evidence of immunity. Doses should be separated at least 28 days apart. So to answer your question, Christy, yes, unvaccinated adults can get the MMR vaccine. You just need to space out the doses. And this brings us to a question from a viewer named Sharon. She wrote, do seniors need an MMR booster since most of us originally caught measles around 70 years ago? This was actually something Dr. WRAL brought up in our interview. The short answer is if you caught the virus or you got vaccinated years ago, you are still safe. Here's the more detailed answer from Dr. WRAL.
One group of people that really don't have to worry very much, and this is where it's good to be old, are people born before 1957. So before 1957, given we didn't have a vaccine, and this was an incredibly contagious virus, almost everyone got infected. So if you were born before 1957, you almost certainly were infected. And that's just as good, we think, as getting immunized.
And now our third question from a viewer named Cynthia. She asked, not hearing much about German measles lately. Is this because it's not prevalent in this country now? German measles, if you haven't heard of it before, it's another name for rubella. And remember, the MMR vaccine tackles 3 viruses, right? Measles, mumps, and rubella. So to Cynthia's question, is rubella no longer prevalent in this country? And for that matter, what about mumps? Let's start with rubella. The virus was a huge problem in the 1960s. This was the front page of Life magazine in June 1965. German measles and pregnancy. Current U.S. epidemic will damage up to 20,000 babies. And it's true. Between 1964 and 1965, 12.5 million people got rubella. 11,000 pregnant women lost their babies. More than 2,000 newborns died. In 1971, the MMR vaccine program started. In 2004, rubella was considered eliminated from the United States. Get this, there are only about 10 cases confirmed per year. So, Cynthia, German measles or rubella, no longer prevalent in this country. But that's not the case for the mumps. Now, look, mumps isn't nearly as widespread as it used to be. We've seen a 99% decrease in cases since 1967. But since 2000, we have seen more mumps cases than you might think. Here's the CDC graph showing the number of mumps cases nationwide since 2000. Now compare that to the same graph for measles. Both graphs have outbreaks here and there, but even just glancing at these, you can tell there are a lot more mumps cases than measles cases. If you think vaccine skeptics and misinformation is to blame for this too, not so fast. The CDC reports most mumps cases since 2006 were among young adults and vaccinated people. An NIH study looked into this and found, quote, the increase in mumps observed among fully vaccinated young adults since 2006 may be due to waning immunity. Studies have shown that mumps antibodies wane over time. So researchers are looking into whether a third dose would fix this or if something else should be done. Whatever the case, doctors say this does not mean people should stop getting the MMR vaccine. In fact, it's the opposite. Here's Dr. WRAL again.
If everyone's vaccinated except for the one person who isn't, they get infected. They can't infect anyone else if everyone else is vaccinated. You need a critical mass of people who are unvaccinated or under-vaccinated in order to get an outbreak. That is the spread from one person to another. So we can nip this in the bud if all of us were vaccinated, or if at least 95% of us were vaccinated, just because the virus can't get a foothold in a community where there's high levels of vaccination.
You can find that full interview with Dr. Wall on the WRAL YouTube page. We talk about what the uptick in measles cases means for people who are vaccinated and why young children are most at risk. Hey, let us know if you have any other questions about measles, mumps, or rubella. You can send us an email to 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. And for that matter, what other health stories do you want us to cover? Your feedback and your questions drive this newscast. We want to talk about what's important to you. So send us an email, and we'll talk about it here at 7 o'clock.
Thank you, Ashley. Keep those emails coming, everybody. Kat Campbell joining me now. Man, they're feeling the love in Franklinton. I love the Valentine's decorations.
You know, they took away the igloo that they had out in the snowman, and boom, the warm weather's here, and now they're going for Valentine's Day. Beautiful weather out there tonight. Mother Nature seemed like she really gave us a Valentine's gift today. But for Valentine's Day weekend, we do have some rain in the forecast. So an early heads up here. Friday looks fine. Cooler though, 52 for the high. Saturday, 56, so a little bit warmer. Actually, the warmest day of the weekend. At this point, much of the day looks dry Saturday, but there could be some rain Saturday night that we'll need to keep an eye on. Sunday is still the wettest day, though, a 90% chance of rain Sunday. Right now, we're just going mostly cloudy Saturday night. Temperatures at 5 o'clock, around 54 if you're doing an early dinner reservation, 50 at 7 o'clock, and 47 at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock may be that time frame where I'd be more concerned about rain chances. Here's our latest in-house model run tonight, showing we are dry during the daytime Saturday, but we could start to see a little bit of rain creep in Saturday night. It really depends on how far north this warm front makes it. If it makes it far enough north, that'll help to warm us up a bit more. However, that creates a little bit of a lift where we could squeeze out some light rain. Still, the bulk of our rain is going to come with the cold front itself on Sunday, out ahead of it. Tomorrow, just a little bit of rain in the forecast, but this weekend we could see a more notable number, and we need this rain. We are in a severe drought for much of North Carolina and our viewing area. We're looking at anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to an inch of rain possible. These numbers are great. They're a step in the right direction, but they have come down a little bit compared to yesterday, so we'll have to keep an eye on that trend. Tomorrow, if you're headed out and about early, you may run into some showers early on. Again, very, very light, pretty short-lived, and mainly before lunchtime. Then during the afternoon, the sun comes back out, and we end up warming up into the low to mid-60s. It ends up actually being a pretty nice day outside tomorrow. So it's split. If you can move your outdoor plans to later in the day, I think you'll be happier doing it that way. Tomorrow's highs, 60 degrees at Roxborough, mid-60s here in the Triangle and Rocky Mount. We could approach the mid to upper 60s in the southern part of our viewing area, depending on how early the rain clears on out of those southern communities. If you're headed out and about for a walk tonight, it's still pretty mild at 10 o'clock, still just 55 degrees, feeling great today. We had 70 for the official high out at RDU, 65 tomorrow, and then comes the drop tomorrow night. But our low temperatures really aren't going to be that bad. After all the teens and 20s that we've seen recently, I feel like we can handle 30. We're in a lot better shape for it now. Once we get to next week, there are some signs of milder temperatures returning with highs back in the 60s.
Sounds good. Thank you, Kat. One last thing. Today marks a big day in the history of North Carolina's Lumbee tribe. On this day in 1885, the state gave the tribe legal recognition. At the time, they were known as the Croatan. They changed names a few times over the years, settling on Lumbee in the 1950s. The state recognition gave the tribe the ability to establish a school system and so much more. We'll get into the details after the break. One last thing for you tonight. Today marks a big day in the history of North Carolina's Lumbee tribe.
Yeah, on this day in 1885, the state gave the tribe legal recognition. At the time, they were known as the Croatan. They changed their name a few times over the years, settling on Lumbee in the 1950s. The state recognition gave the tribe the ability to establish a school system.
140 years later, and here we are. The Lumbee tribe got their federal recognition. It was a huge celebration in Robeson County last month when President Trump signed that bill into law, and this gives the tribe the ability to do all kinds of things, and that includes the ability to set up a reservation. The tribe bought 240 acres of land off of I-95 just a few days before they got that federal recognition, and the tribe says it will be used for long-term economic development.
And the Lumbee have a lot more on the schedule in the months ahead. So in a couple of weeks, they are celebrating the federal recognition at the governor's mansion. In May, they have a celebration at UNC Pembroke. A gala is still in the works. pretty exciting for them.
Yes, they've been working. It's been a long road to get there. We'll see
Totally.
what happens down there.
Yeah.
It's an area that could use some growth.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, we want to get to some quick feedback from some of you watching at home tonight. Cynthia, you mentioned that a Harris Teeter on Creedmoor Road had a measles exposure. You were asking which Harris Teeter. We can answer that one for you. So it's the Harris Teeter at Creedmoor Road and Strickland Road in Raleigh. You can check out WRAL.com. There will be a full list of that. But of course, you can also send more emails to 7 p.m. at WRAL.com.
Well, yeah, we're running out of time tonight. We got some more. So if you didn't hear yours, don't worry. We're going to continue to follow up as we do. You saw Ashley's segment tonight. We appreciate you being with us here at 7 o'clock. Keep using that email. This is your newscast. We have the Olympic zone just minutes away. Here's a quick look at the medal count so far. Norway is now at the top of the list. 6 gold, 2 silver, 4 bronze. The U.S., they are now in the top 5 with 7 total medals.
Here is what's on deck right after this newscast in Olympic Zone. The U.S. women's hockey team off to a great start this year after a heartbreaking loss 4 years ago. The players returning to the ice to go for gold. Why do all of us have the exact same hand position in that photo?
That is
it's very strange.
That's the news anchor pose.
It's really weird when you put us all next to each other.
Come back to us real quick. This is how you
Can
do
you do
it.
that?
Can we
we
go
come
live?
on?
Yeah, you do
Okay,
like a
this.
real.
And then a nice
that.
smile.
Yeah.
Good night.
Thanks for being with us.